नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna and thank you very much for giving this opportunity to serve the mission of Guru and Gauranga. And considering that today is Yuva Pasyayasta and the many people who had option to go elsewhere but during long break, but they chose to come here on such a rainy day. So I'm very grateful to you. Today we'll be talking about bhakti or devotion and what sort of people are existing and how is it relevant in today's context. So Chaitanya Prabhu and Krishna, as Srila Prabhupada explained, he mentioned there are four kinds of people who come to Krishna and four types of people who don't come to Krishna. So which are those people? So in Bhagavad Gita, 15th shloka of 7th chapter, it's mentioned, Na mam dushkritino mudha prapadyante naradama maya praharta jnana asuram bhavam ashritaha. Like there are four who are absolutely foolish or the lowest of the mankind, like just one level above animals. Are there inserting animals also, and or whose knowledge is stolen by illusion or deluded, or who are basically atheistic in nature, who just simply refuse the existence of God. So these are the type of people who refuse to surrender to God. And which are the people who like to surrender are Chaturvida Bhajante Ma Jana Sukrityogna Arjuna Artho Jigyasur Artharthi Jnani Cha Bhartrashava. So those who actually render devotional service to Krishna, Krishna states, are the distressed who are having any trouble, or who desire some wealth, or who are ambitious, or those who are inquisitive, and those who are searching for the knowledge of the Absolute, or Gyanis. So we'd love to think that these four people who are somehow related to God, they are pure devotees, but that's not the case. Because if I'm looking at God when I'm facing some problem, or I need some money, or I'm in some difficulties, or I'm being inquisitive, or I'm just searching for the absolute knowledge, so I'm still expecting something in return. But still, these are the type of people who are coming to God for devotional service. Of course, there may be other reasons, but these are the major reasons. And generally, we'll realize that generally we think of God when actually we are in some trouble. Generally, when we are in happy times, we generally don't think about God. But as this shlok is explained by Srila Prabhupada, they are not actually pure devotees because it is transactional type of relationship. Okay, I want something, so I'm offering something in return. It's not that I'm offering selflessly. So this is a business-like transaction. And Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu or Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains like Anyabhilashit Shunyam Gyan Karmadi Anavritam Anukulyen Krishnao Shilman Bhaktir Uttama. When I'm not expecting anything in return, I'm not expecting sort of any profit not only in terms of money, some sort of satisfaction or something, that is pure devotion. So yeah, now somebody say, what are we talking philosophical speculation? Okay, if I give you something and you give something in return, there's something which is tangible. But sometimes you'll really find that some people do charities, or like in India, typically in railway stations, there's some sort of water you can have drinking water in railway stations or in bus stops. So you'll find somebody's written some name out there like Saraf Trust or something, or there's some benches in the park, there's some name mentioned. So these are, of course, they are not thinking about God, but still they are expecting something that's mentally that satisfies their ego. That is also speculation. So to put everything together, there are four types of devotees who actually come from one reason or the other, arth or the distressed, when they are having some troubles or suffering. So they are like, if people are sick, generally you know that I don't know how many of you have seen this, when doctor gives prescription, so there is a symbol of R with a cut mark out there. And howsoever modern doctors are, but they generally give that. So basically they say that, okay, based on the best of my knowledge and in faith of God, I am just giving this prescription. So, and people generally believe most of the time we find that if one of our relatives is in the emergency condition in medical hospital, and that time we become very prayersome person. So that time, so we could think this type of examples that come to my mind was like Draupadi when she was being disrobed in this palace, or Pandavas, and Queen Kunti, her book of prayers which we have here, the bookshop is like a prayers of Queen Kunti. She says that okay, when she realizes that okay, now Pandavas are now totally safe and everything is, the kingdom is lawfully bestowed to them, and now they are having everything what they wanted. That's the time she actually starts lamenting. Okay, we'll find it strange that how come she should be happy, why she's crying. So she says that actually when we had this sad times, whenever we had faced any trouble, so Krishna, you were always there, but now that sadness and all the sorrows are gone, so now you are also going away. So that's the time she says that I pray that I keep on getting more and more sufferings, at least I remember. That's a very noble example, but this is how the mode of a good devotee actually is. Then we could think about, of course, as per the verse, we will be not talking jigyasu, but artharthi is much more logical. These are people who have some ambition. Okay, I'm in this position, I want to reach higher goal, or I'm having this sort of money, I want to be at the next level, something like that. And the example could be that of Sugriva. I could not think of much other example. Of course, material world, we can think every other person is coming in this, but Sugriva was one person who was kicked out by his brother, and his wife was also restrained by his elder brother Bali. So that is the time he was looking for praying to Lord Ram. Then Jigyasu, or the people who they don't know whether they are devotee or not, but they are just want to know something. They are looking for meaning in life. So they are the inquisitive people, and they just always think, okay, now we are satisfied and all those things, but there's something which is troubling. So they at their this stage are still on mental level. So they are asking philosophical questions: who am I, or what is happening, why things happen, and all that. So sages could be an example of that. And of course, we do come across some students or some devotees who come in temple and we meet them. They are also coming with this particular reason. And then Gyanis, those who are knowledgeable, they have understood many things, but now they are seeking higher than that. Okay, my knowledge has led me to this level, like something like this, that okay, I come out of my academics, but now I want to have practical experience, and that's the time they are searching. They are Gyanis. Now, this slight contradiction, but Lord Hanuman and Prahlad Maharaj, they are the exalted devotees, but I am giving their example because I could not think of any other example. Of course, Srila Prabhupada is also one, but he was already a devotee. So they could come under this. These are people who are highly qualified, and Srila Prabhupada was searching for these type of people to join ISKCON. Because he said that ours is not a movement of emotional or sentimental people, but those who are highly qualified, academically also accomplished, and they are seeking knowledge, because these are the type of people which actually understand and appreciate this movement more. So in this verse, we see that there are different paths to devotion, and since Krishna is himself mentioning, so he understands that all of us have different agendas to go to him. It could be any of the reasons, but all can engage in devotional service. So whatever we may be thinking, whatever the reason, Krishna knows that we have some reason. That's why we are going to Krishna. Of course, he would love if we could go to him without reason. Is our perfection of life. Then another is that the very fact that they are thinking about Krishna, so that means they have some pious credits, because you cannot, as Srila Prabhupada used to say, that okay, those.
Sorry to interrupt you. There's some car outside the car. There's a child crying. If you have a child in your car crying, please go and take it. Okay.
What is the number of the car? That will be easier to identify. So once one devotee who was sitting in front of Srila Prabhupada, he said, okay, they were discussing something, and suddenly they said, but we are fallen souls, our parents are not devotees. He said, well, uh, good fruit cannot come out from bad trees. So basically he was saying that your parents also had some pious credit, that's the reason you are devotees. So devotion comes from piety only, or when we have pious credits, it doesn't come just like that. The very fact we are here in the temple, that means we have something, some good karmas of past, which is why we are here. And then Krishna does not chastise or think low of, okay, you are Arthi or you are Artharthi or you are Jigyasi or Jnani. The very fact you are coming to Krishna, Krishna appreciates that. So that is the inclusivity in Krishna's eyes. Basically, all of us are like children. Like if you have, let's say, a couple of children, some of them are, you are, let's say, you are a school, you are having a class of students, and then you have some students who are bright, some are not so bright, and some are downright dull. But if they are coming politely to your class, so as a good teacher, you would not discriminate. So same way, Krishna does not discriminate whether we are in the bright side or the duller side. And Krishna also acknowledged that, so basically this is sum up, like different paths are there, then piety and then inclusiveness. Then when we talk about these four stages, they realize basically, if you realize that all of them could be, a person can experience all the four stages. Firstly, we could be having some trouble the minute we come out. Let's say I want to join an organization. It's a very prestigious organization, and I know that my name, fame, prestige, money, everything will increase. So I'm struggling to get inside. So I'm praying to get inside. That's the art. And in the organization also, the minute I have entered, then I'm not just satisfied with that. I want to basically go further up. I'm looking towards promotion and recognition. So that is the artharthi. So then over a period of time, then I actually start realizing, okay, I'm getting promotions also, but how good I am. So am I actually able to do some value addition? That's where sincere devotion comes. And then I want to become master in what am I doing. So that's where I could become a jnani. So in devotional life, instead of now organization, if we talk about devotional life, so all these four things could be happening. Most of us comes from art background. Very few of us come as with the inquisitiveness. Like in my own case, actually I'm coming from very parents who had a very loving background, safe background. I would not say very rich family, but yes, comfortable enough. So we were just looking, okay, we go to temple, and being a typical Indian, okay, or today we are in Kashmir, okay, so we are going to Shiv temple, okay, then there's Shankaracharya, which is a very tourist spot. So we go to tourist spot, at the same time have a darshan of Lord Shiva also. So this is where, when we came to Bombay, we started going, okay, we should go to Siddhi Vinayak, because Ganpati is the main deity out here. Somebody then said, okay, there is ISKCON temple, and coming from Kashmir, we were not aware what is ISKCON and all those things. So somebody mentioned, my cousin mentioned. So then we started going there, and then my brother went to his college, and then he found some brahmachari came. He was going some other university, and then he said, my brother said, why don't you come to my institute? So slowly he started. So from that, slowly we started coming. So all of us had some excuses to come to this movement. So we can, whatever stage we are, we can always, just if the sincerity is there, we can actually come and slowly ultimately go towards Krishna. And then as we are seeing that there's so much of diversity, like even our own fingers in our hand are not the same, so are every individual in front of us. So in front of Krishna, all are different, but as they are progressing, so slowly from material aims, they slowly start coming towards spirituality, and they start thinking of divine life. And then, of course, whosoever is coming to Krishna in whatever capacity, Krishna is always reciprocating. So this indicates God's mercy. Like this mercy does not have any limits or boundaries. As long as we are going to Krishna, Krishna is loving us all the time. One devotee had mentioned once, like, okay, if we go to somebody's house and we knock the door of our friend, and if he does not open, we may feel bad, but we go back. After some time, we again come back. But if we say repeatedly, this person not opening door, then we'll stop going, maybe within a week or so. But God is not that. Every day He is knocking at the door of our hearts, and even if on our deathbed also, if we open our door once, He is not feeling bad. Immediately He starts loving us. He's always loving us, but then He becomes even more happy, and He starts blessing us even more. So that's what God is, and what we have to look at. Now we can see that how it affects us on day-to-day life. Whether we are in some material goals or something, Krishna says, whatever it may seem like it's not a very good thing, but the thing is that whatever is, if we are looking at God, we can go to God with sincerity and devotion. And if you are going like as a jigyasu or gyani or curious person or thirsty person, then we should think that this is a valid and noble path. As we were looking at it, there's a proof also for that. And slowly we realize we may have different starting points, but our goal remains the same, going towards Krishna. And this is Krishna's goal also, that we go back to Krishna. So that slowly, even if it's like adulterated in the beginning, in the end it results in pure devotion and knowledge, as long as we are sincere. And then whatever is the reason, whether we are in distress or whatever desires, Krishna accepts all the people. All this verse, if we realize, this verse is basically talking about sincerity and devotion. And then as long we start going, then we Krishna sends us people to give us divine guidance. And basically Krishna is available to all of us. But then there is a catch. Krishna also mentions that Naham Prakash Sarvasya Yoga Maya Samvrtah Mudho Yam Nabhijanati Loko Mam Ayam Avyayam. Like, he is never manifested foolish and unintelligent, because because he realized they are just miscreants. So like they are going to face their own time till the time they get from the Lusum school of hard knocks. They keep on getting their lessons till the time Maya will keep covering them. Now, if you look at these pictures carefully, because this is a thing I realize, pictures are the thing which I feel are very capturing the essence of whatever I'm saying. Like we see in the palace where Dhritarashtra was caretaking absolute emperor. That time Krishna went there as messenger of peace. He showed his Virat Roop, or this universal form. Despite that, seeing all the truth and proof, witnessing evidence, everything, Kauravas did not agree, and then it ended up in Mahabharata. Then before that, you can see Kans, his maternal uncle. Krishna was his relative, but still he could not appreciate, and he was always fearful of that he is my Kal, and he was always having enmity towards him. And then, of course, when he was killed, also still till that time, he still did not realize Krishna. And the last of all, we are talking about Krishna and Balaram killing their own relatives, sons and brothers, and all family members. So it doesn't mean that even if we are living with Krishna, we are still realizing Krishna or we are appreciating Krishna. So this is the risk which we have to be very careful of, that anybody can start a journey, but actually surrendering to Krishna, which is the ultimate path of the journey or ultimate goal, is not achieved even if we are related to Krishna. So that is one risk which we have to be very, very careful about. So Krishna is the ultimate spiritual guide for us, and his teachings do have a profound impact those who want to actually listen. And if we are going towards Krishna, so this journey is basically a journey of self-realization and understanding the divine within. Now, what are we saying? It's easy for us to search for Krishna outside, but when we start advancing, slowly we start realizing that even this body, everything given to us, is even our breath, our life, everything is coming from Krishna. So that is how we actually start advancing. Firstly, we go outside, and then we slowly start going inside. And when we talk about spirituality, is basically that Krishna is available and accessible to all. This is a message which has been time and again being given to us. But of course, we have to seek it. Now, this point sounds very good. Okay, I'm coming to temple, so he's supposed to talk about Krishna, so he's talking about Krishna. But if I were in other listeners' shoes, I would be thinking, okay, but is it actually relevant? Or since I did not have much better to do, people ditched me, I could not go for outing, so I'm coming to temple. Is that the thing? So the thing is that why do we go to temple? As the verse has itself explained, that most of us are having either stress, anxiety, or mental health issues. You realize that many people out here in India, we are too busy to keep our life and body and soul together. So there we mostly have heart problems and those type of things. But here you find people are having mind-related disease. You could think about dementia or this type of Alzheimer's and all those things which are more related to mind issues. So These are the type of people who will be benefiting most. In fact, I was reading a few days back when I was in temple. I was listening to one lecture by Srila Prabhupada. He was talking about Vaikunt. So, what is Vaikunt? I never knew the meaning. I understood Vaikunt is higher than heavenly planets. But Srila Prabhupada was explaining Vaikunt is where there is no kuntha or any anxiety. So when we go to Vaikunt, that's the place where we don't have any anxiety of anything anymore. Like right now, I'm here and I was walking down the road. I saw there were many earthworms. They are very harmless and good for us, but I have a very what you call mortal fear of earthworms. The minute I see, they remind me of snakes. So I had very tough time just coming to temple. So I have the tower issues. But so that is what is that basically? That is a kuntha because I'm in material world, so I have some anxiety. Like I came and then I was just wondering, I should not be keeping my foot and in any of them. Accidentally, I kill them, or they might actually come and bite me. I have that sort of strange feelings. This is what happens when I'm in material world. So this is the type of people like me who need this Krishna consciousness very much. And when we are meditating, so slowly this we are mitigating our anxiety and emotional well-being. And when we know that, okay, generally it is said that do your best and forget the rest and leave everything to God. What is the meaning of that? Okay, you do. Like it's an examination. In school, we realize like many students who get high anxiety when they are in ninth class. In India, it will be 10th and 12th, but here it is around ninth class where you are likely to be decided whether you will get higher education or not. But when you are preparing, that's the time we maximum efforts. But the minute we have done that, all we can think is about we think about leave it. Okay, now whatever comes, we have to face that. But when we are praying to Krishna, we find we are more calm and comfortable. And Krishna consciousness basically gives a very structured path to emotional and mental balance. Those people who come here slowly, they start realizing over a period of time, they start becoming more and more calm. In fact, one of the identification of good devotees is that you look at them, you'll see there's sort of peace in them, and they have always this like happiness surrounding them. And then when we are having so many issues, we are having so many anxieties, we are not even aware what our goals, what are we doing. Okay, there's war like situation, economy is going down, everything what is possibly around us is following Murphy's law, like whatever, everything that can go wrong will go wrong at the worst possible time. So that's what he's saying. So this is a time where we actually find Krishna consciousness more relevant, and actually we can look at our own nature and what is the purpose of our life. This is a time we can think beyond. Okay, there's a trouble coming, like Shilpopad was also mentioning when he was talking to Bhaktisan Saraswati Thakur. He said, why don't you go and preach this message to the western world? So he was saying that where we are under the rule of Britishers, so how can we go? So he said, well, these things will come and go, but most important is Krishna consciousness. It cannot wait for anything. So same way, what we are going through, Krishna consciousness is way beyond that, and there's a thing which will actually matter in the end. In any case, and it also gives us direction and purpose. Those people who are having some higher goals, they're not bothered about momentary troubles. They have that calmness which takes them, and half the time you realize that I don't know how many of you have played game of chess, but when you are playing against in some tournament, whether speed chess or normal chess, you realize that you tend to get into anxiety. But when you are calm and comfortable, you realize that the other person makes mistakes and you can capitalize on those mistakes. And it happens in real life also. When we are calm and quiet, half the problems go away just like that, because we are thinking comfortably and Krishna is guiding within us. And whatever problems we are facing in life, this helps us navigate through the uncertainties and with purpose and clarity, because once you are focused, then you exactly know you are not dilly dallying or hesitating. And it's a strange thing. This time when I was preparing, it took me 3 4 ideas to come with what I'll be talking about in today's theme. And I realized that there are many people who are not religious anymore, but they are like to define themselves as spiritual. In fact, I met two families within this week who openly said that, okay, we are secular, we are not religious, because there was a concert going on in Wiki Church. So I was going there towards the Lekki Pusto. So I just asked the person who was like walking next to me that there's a concert going on. Have you been to churches? No, 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 no. I'm a secular. Great. Then I said, okay, I met this person and she said that she is secular. So they said, yeah, I understand, I also relate to her. So I first time I found, and I found it a bit difficult to understand what is secular, because Indian constitution says that we are a secular country, but I have never seen anybody actually secular. On paper we are all secular, but I have never seen. But uh, and generally we realize that when we go to any of the religious institution, they expect us to become members, and then they start putting through those situations. But people who get attracted in Krishna consciousness is that non-dogmatic approach, or like, okay, you come here or wherever you are, you just understand that you are a spiritual soul with a body, and then you have to think about that aspect and you can work on your consciousness. That's a universal theme which comes from Krishna consciousness. So which people like, okay, we are not being bound to follow rules and regulations, but to transform, because at the end of the day, what's the point in following all the rules and regulation when our consciousness is not clear? Because when consciousness is clear, then everything else matters. That's what is our underlying understanding. And Krishna consciousness is appealing for those who are looking at spirituality without religious structures. Oh, I'm supposed to follow this authority, that hierarchy. No. And then it is focusing on personal spirituality and transformation. Like, how does it matter? Like, when we are trying to preach, we are just trying to understand. In Bombay, one devotee told me that ours is not, we are actually, if you are playing life, of course we are counted towards the most of the goals. So our success will count on not on how advanced we are, but how many people we could help in Krishna consciousness, and how many of them actually became good devotees. That's our goal in sports or life goal. So basically, if you are helping others to reach, that is our goal. So that is the relevance and transformation. And when we are talking social responsibility, in terms of corporate social responsibility, this actually helps. When we are compassionate, we are kind and respectful towards others, and then we are automatically involving them away from the activities which are to the detriment or which are against the environment. And our mission is itself based on serving others. So when we are serving all the time, so we are definitely helping society also. And it's basically, this movement is talking about wherever you are from, as long as you can realize that you are a spiritual soul and aim is Krishna. So we are basically talking about love, peace, and respect for all living beings. It's not that, okay, you are a devotee, so I respect you. Outside the person non-devotee, I'll beat him up. No, not like that. Or there's a dog going out there, I throw a stone. Okay, why are you coming in my way? No, it's not that. When we are loving, peaceful, and respectful, we are actually advancing in our movement. Not only our movement, but we are helping others also advance. And we have to see, when we start seeing divine presence everywhere, automatically we'll see the changes coming within ourselves. So we are talking about unity in diversity, peace, and spiritual fulfillment. Because when we are peaceful and calmful, automatically we start feeling more and more contented, and automatically we start advancing in Krishna consciousness. Now, these are the things which are intangible. So what are the tangibles? These are some of the statistics we are checking. There's a Pew Research, which is an authority in this field. So they do lots of surveys and Gallup surveys. They found that the people who are having some sort of religion or spirituality to bank on, they have more meaningful life and purposeful life. Even when we are talking about, like, where we are in Europe right now, more than 39 percent perspective there that this religion, or it gives them time, is more power, especially when they are in grief or when they are in some moral dilemmas. If they have to make some difficult decision, when they leave it to higher power, then automatically they are much better effective. And we have seen that people who are coming together, their celebrity festivals and all those things, they tend to be happier and more civically organized. When we say civically, it's basically not only they are able to take care of each other, they are more comfortable, and they are quite comfortable when they are with the strangers also. And it was a Gallup survey which found that when we have the spirituality and religion in our lives, we are mentally more stable and we are more healthy, and we have lower levels of anxiety, depression, suicide risk. Most of people lose their lives because of this anxiety, depression, suicides. And then we, when we have higher perspective, when you know, like, okay, God is my father and he's taking care of all the troubles, then we are definitely coming out of stressful life out of it. And religious also, they mentioned that those people who are doing this prayers, meditation, or seeking support from religious communities are much better. They don't require alcoholic anonymous or this type of things to quit some addictions in life. So that is also the fact. So to sum up, I would say that Lord Chaitanya says that Param Vijayate Ek Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. As we are Sankirtan could be I'm doing mental chanting, or whether I'm going like Govinda Prabhu keeps inviting all of us to, why don't we go out and meet. And of course, there are books which are in the gift shop also available, which are guiding us, those who are interested in learning about it. So when we are either chanting alone, or we are chanting in groups outside, or when we are having this Rath Yatra near central Helsinki towards Kampi side, that's where we actually see all these things happening. So these are the things which will help us, guide us in life to more peaceful and contented life towards our goal. So with this point, I end, and thank you very much for your patience and again giving some time. And if there's any question or any comments, please feel free to ask. Thank you. Hare
Um,
Yes, bro.
yeah, thank you very much for the beautiful lecture. I mean, I've been very much thinking in this case that we are in this day of resurrection, like in Christian tradition, that Jesus reborn today, and I mean, I think it's a very very interesting issue in this because for me it means like a Krishna consciousness, like yeah, like reborn means wake up, means to become aware that we are here to go through all this suffering and anxiety and to survive the death like he did instead of suicide did Judas. and and so I mean I understand that that yeah, we are here on this planet, yeah, maybe sometimes suffering, but we are going somewhere higher to this planet you mentioned, where there is no suffering, but there is a very big process. And yeah, for me it's a very significant day because like yesterday, Jesus passed all day in the hell, like in between the life and death, uh, and I mean, yeah, the history is full of stories that was just 2,000 years ago, and I can just think about the people which gathered in Friday on the Last Supper, and then they were closed in the temple where they gathered for whole Saturday in very big anxiety and very big fear. What gonna be? And then one of them just went for the walk Sunday morning, and he met, yeah, he first he went, I think, but yeah, he met Jesus, yeah, but he couldn't believe there is a Jesus, yeah. I mean, he, yeah, it was Thomas, and the women which went to his grave, his mother and his wife, uh, they were the I mean, there is so much miracles every day. So I mean, the
Yes.
suffering is not for nothing. It's to give us a hope that tomorrow is gonna be a better day. That I mean, that we have to respect the family, that we have to respect the community, that we have to respect everyone, that we have to come back to our roots and live and live and develop our consciousness. I mean, the child is to grow up, and the man is to become conscious that there is something more than just being human. That human is a temporary state. That everybody is human. That Arjuna was a human, and his cousins were a human too. That Krishna was a human, but he was not conscious of that as a child. He is a god, but his mother, she could see all the universe in his mouth,
and that life is not what we always see. There is something else. Maybe it's flat or maybe it's round.
So
It's
basically,
depending on your
this is
view.
the place. Basically, as you rightly pointed out, that we are reflecting whether it's Christianity or anything. Because who is Christ? Christ is Srila Prabhupada said he's a true Vaishnava. He himself said that he is son of God, and when he says son of God, basically Christ was a true Vaishnava. So he took others' suffering so that they are getting better life and they can advance in their God consciousness. So that's why you realize that the maximum people who come to ISKCON, they are just coming from Christianity because they understood that Christ took sufferings for them. If you are talking about Easter, it's basically another day to reflect that, okay, God is so merciful that He takes Himself so many sufferings. He sends His representatives who are also taking a lot of suffering just for us to come out of their ignorance and go towards God, isn't it? So likewise, like as you said that, okay, it's a resurrection and all things. But if you realize in the similar concept in uh, our culture is also like a Dvij. What is Dvij? When we are born, we are all born in ignorance. And then when we are spiritually initiated, and that's where we are called twice born, or rather the actual birth takes place from ignorance. Now we are in knowledge. So that is the second birth we are talking about. So likewise, but what is the end objective of getting some knowledge and realizations that others have suffered for us, and we have to give something back to society. Or if we are talking about from society aspect, or if nothing else, we have a debt of God to us. Like God has given us so much. What are we giving in return? The least we can do is basically acknowledge the existence of God and try to serve God. That's what we are talking about. So as long as it may be any reason, whether somebody is sacrificed for us, like if you realize in, why do people go for Hajj in Mecca, Medina? Muslims, they go there. Basically, they are also doing sort of a paying homage only for the people who guided them but suffered for them. So in every religion story more or less remains the same, that there are higher souls who have suffered for us to guide us so that we don't learn from our hard lessons, but from their other lessons we take examples and we proceed in our life back to God. Does that answer your point?
Yeah, it's for Hare Krishna. Yeah, it's like I mean, with the gypsies, they come from India and they live all over the world. They are maybe
Yeah.
the lower caste, but today. I mean, I just see the video yesterday about the Indian gypsy. I mean, he called himself Rom. Yeah, some of them they call themselves Rom. So I mean, either they come from India or they come from Rome.
See, ROME is the name of place. ROAM is when you are going from one place to another place. And if you are talking Romans and also those who are roaming and all things, then you are talking gypsies. That is a term which you heard in India also, but gypsy is not a word which is found in Indian vocabulary. And if you look at ISKCON itself, it was like you realize that you will come across the term hippies were the first people. They were not that lucky, they were taking drugs in life. They were all highly educated, or they had high sukriti, but they were disillusioned people. So that's where the hippies to became happies. That's what Krishna consciousness is all about.
Hare Krishna.
All of us are like those hippies only taking drugs of ignorance, but when we come actually towards the right spiritual master, then slowly we come out of our ignorance. That's what Dvij is, or actual our birth takes place. So it's just a matter of time. It depends, like some people class, like if in India we have 10 plus 2 plus 3 education. Some people clear education in first attempt itself, some take multiple attempts. So in devotional life also it may take our, maybe if we are fortunate we'll get within this lifetime, or we'll pass out from this education. Otherwise we'll keep on coming back till the time we have cleared all those examinations. So as simple as that. Is there any other question? Yes, probably. Right.
No problem. Thank you for the
Yes,
lecture.
probably.
Since it is the Easter Sunday, and with Prabhu was saying about I was wondering during your lecture of what the similarities in between Krishna consciousness and Jesus, as a question, was something like beyond the pagan kind of associations of the seasons, but then with his resurrection and Krishna consciousness, in the Bible, there's the missing years of Jesus from the 12 to 30 approximately, and from many different sources I've heard that it could be possible that Jesus, in his quote-unquote lost years, would have gone to Varanasi, India, and actually gotten a lot of his spiritual education from India.
I've also heard about that. Some people say he went to Kashmir side, and because yeah, I've heard that he was in that direction.
So the question is twofold.
Yeah.
First, do you know if there is an official version of what is ISKCON approved? And then, of course, what is your own personal take on the thing?
Proof of what? The Christ went to India?
Yeah, whether he went to India and what happened, and is it more common knowledge there that this might have happened?
Probably my only qualification is that I know I'm not qualified. Okay. Now you are saying that okay, you are coming out of nursery and I'm a heavyweight, so let's have a competition. I cannot. You are coming from Christian background, so you have very deep knowledge about that. No, let me put it this way. If somebody asks me about Hinduism, I can talk many things because I come from that background. Or if you start ask me to talk to you anything in Hindi and Urdu, I'll beat you left, right, and center. But if you try to compete with me in Finnish, I'll say sorry, boss, I give up. So I'll not be able to give you those proofs because Krishna consciousness is about acknowledging devotees, and Christ is the highest Vaishnava, one of the highest Vaishnava I have known about. But what is background and all those things? Because in this movement also, Srila Prabhupada never discriminated who's coming from where. They are spiritual souls, they have come here, so they are advanced. That's it. Their Sukriti, wherever they are coming from, at the end of the day, when you are looking at an apple, let's say you go to a fair and you are picking some apple or some this pomegranate from the fruit stall. What you see, which one is the best one? So that's why when who comes to Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada is not looking who is coming from which family and all this. He just saw these are the devotees who want to come to Krishna and that's why they are here. So we know that Christ was the person who gave highest example and we respect him. He is an ideal Vaishnava. But we don't know his background.
I'm not trying to come from the false ego perspective. I'm trying to come from the perspective, is there an official statement made any time?
I wouldn't know. I could search back and try to find it for you, or maybe Gopinath Prabhu, my god brother, he could help you with that question.
Sure.
And of course, Keshavada Prabhu is here. He has done this type of research, so he'll be able to answer you better. Okay. Because I don't pretend to be what I am not. What I don't know, I straight honestly say that.
I wasn't implying.
No. I really don't know. Yeah.
When I had a conversation with a person, then he brought up a point that Garuda, being the most sincere devotee of Lord Vishnu, he feeds on snakes and fishes. So, what's the point that we should be vegetarian to be God's precious or to be Krishna conscious? So, I didn't know what to answer on that. So maybe you can.
Where is it mentioned that Garuda was eating fishes? Of course, he was eating, he was punishing snakes, and you know this Kaliya and all those things. But generally, if you realize that there's a verse, I cannot remember this right now, but Shilpad mentions that there are four sort of things. If you kill them, there is no sin which you are incurring. One of them was snakes. And who becomes snakes in next life is those who are very envious. I think snakes and scorpions, something like that. There are four. I am not sure about that. So there's only one reference. And frankly speaking, do you actually think that Garuda will be going out and hunting because he is in touch with Krishna himself, Vishnu, or Krishna is one and the same? Why would he be going, okay, I'll eat this and eat that? Krishna would not be having some person. He was there to punish. Likewise, I was reading somewhere, okay, that if Lakshman, instead of Lakshman, Shatrugna had gone with Lord Ram to for this forest, then this Ravan thing would have never happened because he is Sudarshan Chakra. So the minute he would come, he would have straight away killed Ravan there and then. But of course, these are all speculation. It was destined to happen. That's why God wanted to happen. So it happens like that. So that is like a mere speculation. Because how could Garud do everything? He's so intelligent. So that is like a mere speculation. Since he's a bird, he should be eating fishes and snakes. Why cannot eat animals? Because you see that actually vultures actually eat dead human beings. So why restrict only to fish and all that? That's all speculation.
Thank you.
Yes, madam. Yeah.
just one thought came to my mind. Isn't it also that God or godlike personality is beyond those kind of rules, that the rules are made for humans to evolve uh, towards that God consciousness, but if we talk about godlike person, actual rules are not there, like about killing or what seems like killing somebody, or what somebody's eating, like these kind of rules don't uh, or this kind of godlike person only sets example to people, but actually they are beyond, because the kind of karma and all these kind of things, it doesn't, because they are the creator of the karma, they are the creator of everything, so we cannot say like for example, I heard, I don't know if it's what is your point of view, but I heard that, for example, if Krishna was killing somebody, it's actually not only punishment, but it's also blessing, because a god can only do what is right, what is good for everybody, everybody's evolvement in the long run. So in that moment, it might seem as a punishment, but actually, according to that soul's journey, it's actually a blessing. So, but for ordinary human being cannot say I'm killing this because I do it as a blessing. So we cannot copy that kind of mentality. That God can only bless people by whatever act they are doing, even if it seems like violence. It's not violence actually. It's just this is my question.
Okay, please correct me if I'm mistaken. What I understood is that basically that it's your correct understanding that when God does something, since God is the creator of karma, so these things though seem contradictory, but they are not wrong. So is that your question? What God does?
No, it just came to my mind from the question of if somebody is eating meat or fish. It just came from that the idea that if we, for example, if we talk about Krishna, we should not compare his acts or what it seems like. For example, killing somebody, we should not compare it to if ordinary human being, like the wars, for example, the war. We cannot say we do this war for a good purpose, but if like, or I'm killing because I have the like justification, because so many wars and killings have been done, saying that I do it for the God or I do it for the higher source, but actually because as long as there's ego and we are still normal human beings, we cannot use this kind of
Excuse.
yeah, and so many things have been like people are copying this kind of examples, but we have to understand that there is a big difference between being somebody who is totally beyond and somebody who is just reading about somebody who is totally beyond and doing trying to copy the same kind of behavior.
Thank you very much. What you are saying is actually absolutely correct. There's nothing much I could add to that. What you are saying is absolutely correct. What God does is beyond us to compare. But at the same time, if you realize, as Lord Ram, who is supposed to Maryada Purushottam Ram, and even Krishna in Bhagavad Gita tells Arjun the same thing, that he is still refusing, that I don't want to fight this war. So he says that, okay, basically, please understand one thing, that here, first of all, you are not fighting because you have to fight. I understand you're a compassionate person, but what you are fighting is fighting, your dharma is to fight because you are a warrior and you are fighting under my guidance. Because as God, I am telling you, you have to fight because this is your karma. Number one. Number two, please understand one thing, that what you do, you are setting an example for others. And Lord Ram, there are many people in Western world, we don't get this question, but there they say, okay, Mother Sita was so divine and she had not committed any mistake. Why she still had to go away and exile? Why she had to be exiled by Lord Ram when she was innocent? Just because a washerman says that, okay, I am not Lord Ram. But then Lord Ram knew that Mother Sita had not done any crime. She has not done any sin. She has not done anything wrong. But to satisfy, because he was setting an example, that's why he's called Maryada Purushottam Ram. The point out here is that sometimes we have to sacrifice for others to follow that example. Like, let's say you are, for example, you are a teacher in a university, you are a lecturer in a university. So even though you want to have fun and all those things, but your role is that of a teacher out there, so you have to set higher standards. So that means you have to sometimes sacrifice your own thought process for the higher good. And that's where you'll realize that it's very easy. Like I say, okay, since God kills, I can also kill, as you rightly pointed out. I need not elaborate on that. It's very easy for rascals to always copy. In the name of God, they do things. Like, there is a typical saying, like, religion is opium of masses. Like most of the places, anywhere in the world, you have to create war. Firstly, you have to have an agenda. This nation is bad, this nationality is bad, this religion is bad, and by that, we are upholders of the religion, and that's where all these rascals are doing. This is what we are seeing out here. Most of the problems we are facing out here, somebody is being made scapegoat of, and after that, in the name of justification, as you rightly pointed out, they are just getting away with murder. So you are absolutely correct on that. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Okay, if there are any question, we can address later, because now we have other schedule to follow. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.